we can get a better look at the painted Wapsi. And I do have, let's see, this is on, so I have to be careful. 2 kind of over. I think if I just picked it up and supported it, it might be fine. You know, when you develop a garden, it would be so great once you got it all tilled if you just all go in and plant the whole thing on the same day. But there's only so much manpower, woman power, and you just, it just takes time to get it all planted. And everything grows at a different rate. And so, you know, you want to get your corn in first and corn and tomatoes in first. And then, you know, okra can go long into the season. It can still be producing October 1st. So I only did 1 row of okra this year. I just was picking so much okra the last 2 years and I can't sell it. It's so perishable. It's best when you just take it right off the stalk and eat it in the morning. The short ones, that's the best. But I'm so excited to report. I can't wait to show you because now the sun's hitting it. And is it ever hot? Boy, it's going to be, let's see, 92, 100% humidity, and we got 1 inch of rain yesterday in about 2 hours. So got a good drench. I'm really happy I don't have to spend the time watering today, spend the water watering, use the water. But I used my seeds from my original harvest in 2016 of my loofah. And I thought, you know, I don't have any fresh seeds. And those were so amazing. I didn't want to take a chance of ordering other seeds. There's different kinds. I thought I need fresh seeds to carry on because these came from the original, my friend Sherry, who was the loofah grower in over in west of here in Tennessee. And just happened to meet her at a farmer's market, went there, did a video with her. I'll put that link up there. She always used, her lucky number was 13 seeds, and so she gave me 13 seeds. And I came home and I planted, she may have given me more, but I planted 13 seeds in my California garden, and it was just a huge success. The loofah came up strong and produced a whole group of loofahs, and then the vines grew longer up over the trellis between the garage and the art studio and produced another set. So I had a kind of a double harvest of the loofah sponges, but loofah is not a sponge. Loofah is a plant in the cucurbit family. And so many people didn't know that. So many people grow loofah all over the world, all over Asia, Central America. So that was my most popular video. I couldn't understand, how did this obscure video blow up? But it did. It got shared all over. So this is what's growing down here. We've got okra. I planted some 2017 seeds of amaranth, purple amaranth, burgundy amaranth. Only 3 plants are over there. And I see just in the last 2 days they've been eaten up by bugs. So I've got some buckwheat and I've got some weeds and some watermelon. Over there I've got the sweet potatoes. From this angle they look very good. This angle up here is the purple and the orange, and then I planted the white on the very back. Most of those were from slips, not the actual piece of potato, and so they've struggled. Way over there I've got hundreds and hundreds of sunflowers and touch-me-not. Somehow I grew touch-me-not last year. I didn't even realize what it was. If you touch the dried up seed pod, it will explode, and I have at least 1 million. I have at least 1 million over there. It's my neighbor. And so I didn't thin them out. I probably still should. I see some yellowing at the bottom of the sunflowers. There's probably 500 sunflowers just in those 2 rows right there. And then I've got beans on the other side. I've got that one artichoke. Do you remember that? It made it. Let's go inside. Well, my cameraman didn't show up today, and I'm just kidding. I've always shot all of my videos, my 1,400 videos. I shot them all. Anyway, my camera fell over up there at the terraces when I went up to get a fresh battery. I didn't notice when I picked it up that the lens had hit the grass, and so there were all these dots of dew, moisture on the lens. So when I picked it up, I just started filming because you can't see it from the back. I'm hoping it shot through. They say it does, it shoots through that, but big droplets were on the lens, on the filter of the lens. And so I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm not going to go redo it. So we'll just suffer through it, okay? And then I just noticed now when I discovered it, I took it off and cleaned it, but it had this like smear of whatever, and so I just got it cleaned again. It is clean now, so hopefully you can see okay. But anyway, I planted 39 peppers in this area, between 4 or 5 between each row of tomatoes over here, and the rest like 25 peppers here. And I think I have 10 or 12, maybe. They all died. So this row was replanted. You see one pepper back there. This row was replanted, and in a purple, like a purple green bean. Purple green beans actually turn green when you cook them. But I just put a few seeds here. Over here we have butternut squash. I had planted some bonnie plants because I was, when my cucumbers crapped out, I just thought, let me just go get some plants. I've got to have something. Got to have some cucumbers. I want to make pickles. Those didn't make it here. Not enough rain. Didn't get. Who knows? When you pick up nursery plants, it's a crapshoot. Sometimes they do well. Sometimes they don't. They've been in a greenhouse. They haven't. They've set out too long. You just don't know. It's so much better to start from seed if you can. But if you can't, it's better to have those plants and get a bunch and make sure you have a harvest. So I had one plant that survived, and then I planted butternut squash here because butternut is so solid, and I'm counting on that. And then I put a little blackberry potato over here, and then I put some calendula down there. Then I put some calendula in between a couple of peppers over here. So I have 5 rows of cattle panel, 16-foot cattle panel, and I planted 7, 3 on one side and 4 on the other side of each row. So there were 35. Lost a couple, and I think I counted 31, but I had a couple of volunteers. So they're doing okay because they get less sun. They were planted later than the other tomatoes. They're not as far along. This plant in the tomato cage is a volunteer, but I was missing one, and I thought, okay, it's close enough to the trellis, to the cattle panel, that it can grow over there if need be. I've got the blue spice basil coming up. I had thousands of those plants coming up last year, and from the previous year where I planted it intentionally, and now it just comes back. It smells wonderful. It's supposed to keep bugs away, but come on, nothing really does that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 pepper plants and blue spice basil in there. Over here I've got a morning glory that came up. So I thought, well, I've never had a morning glory. I know it also can be invasive, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. But I thought, let me see what it looks like. So I'm going to check that out. Got a lot of weeds on the side. Got a lot of dock. Dock was one of the big weeds that came up in the manure. Oh, this makes me sad. Okay, I had a double sunflower here. That was early on, volunteer, amazing. This was the shorter half. It's got a stake here, but the storm knocked it back. The stake was the stake was tall in the beginning, but now it needs much bigger support. This thing is very heavy. I need a T-post at this point. Oh, and it's got a big branch here. Anyway, the other half, it was just laying on the ground. Okay, so this is the walkway inside the gate. And I was sitting up on the porch, which is way up there, the other day, and I thought, he had just tilled this. This was all just covered this deep in grass weeds and other weeds. And I thought, if you can just knock that back, we can get control over it. And then he did that, and I thought, man, that swath of space is probably more growing area than I had in my entire California garden. What can I grow here? But see, I've got rows going this way and rows going this way, so I can't put a row this way because I've got to wrangle a hose on this end of the garden. I haven't figured out what I can put here. You're seeing the artichoke. This artichoke came up, I planted it last year. I planted 6 or 7, and I had 6 or 7, and this is the only one that made it through the freeze, the winter. I had it piled over with hay, and it made it. And I'm just hoping I get some beautiful flowers and seeds. Okay, this is the arched trellis that Randy and I built last year. There are 4 16-foot cattle panels on T-posts. I copied this from one of Daryl's trellises, except I have a gap between each one because I was hoping to be able to, slip between each one rather than walking all the way around to maintain it. This year I'm growing loofah here because last year it was just kind of sketchy. Oh, that's a beautiful goldfinch that just flew in there. Probably not going to be able to see it. Oh, come on, focus. Okay, anyway, I'm pretty excited about it because I wanted something beautiful that completely covers it over, and this does. Okay, this is what I call my insectiary. One of my first videos I did in Northern California, she called her big area beside the garden her insectiary. These are the zinnias. They're just starting to bloom. I've got pink, orange, yellow, and then tons and tons of sunflowers, many tiny ones, and doesn't really matter. I have big ones here, big showy ones here. I can collect all the seeds I need from these. And this is just more work, Oh, look at my coneflowers. That dark area right there are my perennials. That's my echinacea coneflower, anise hyssop, and Sheffield mum, which blooms later in the summer. And the coneflower just started blooming, so I have a long, wonderful time to see that. Absolutely gorgeous. You see down here I've got all these grass weeds, and the flowers are too close. Oh, I see some cosmos. Okay, that's a cosmos in the middle there, surrounded by touch-me-not and then a back wall of sunflowers. This touch-me-not is so dense, you just cannot even believe it. And I'm thinking, I have a long time to worry about it, but I'm thinking that I'm going to have to take them all out before the seed pods explode. But I'm also hoping that the flowers shadow out the ground and suppress the weeds, although we do have plenty of grass weeds down here. Okay, what you're seeing in this view is on the left, there is, far left, down here, is sulfur cosmos with all of the touch-me-not. And this is the wild goose peas, the 2 rows. They look fabulous. They're going to be starting to bloom soon. And over behind those 5 rows or so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows are sweet potatoes. The last row is the white sweet potato that I put just slips. They look a little not great. Maybe they'll be enthused by the rain yesterday. And of course the tomatoes are looking good. I'm shooting straight into the sun, which is tough, but I just wanted for you to see how healthy the corn looks from this side, and how we've worked so hard on the weeds on this area and in between. My helper did a fabulous job banking up the corn. I never could have done that. Let's back up so you can see how intense the weeds are if you don't weed. Look at that. Everything inside the fence should be gone, but you worry about what's closest to your plants. Okay, here are the elderberries. When these little green berries are purple, dark purple, almost black, they're ready. This is the most that I've had so far, but I see that there are some missing here, so that means the birds are probably getting them, or they're falling off, or the storm is blowing them off. Okay, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I just saw this and I thought, well, maybe this was attached to the plant. This is only attached to the rebar. That's so strange. This is an anomaly. I don't understand. Now that was the 3-year plant and this is the 2-year plant. So a little bit behind, but it looks like I'm going to have 2 of these clusters. So I'm very excited about the elderberry this year. Remember the tornado? Well, I wound up 2 of the seeds from the Sweet Luck corn wound up down here. Oh, this is the weed with the thorns. Oh. Yep, 2 corns right there. Spot, I see you. What are you doing in here? Hi. I know. I know. Is it cool under there? Okay, good.